Okay, welcome back to class, everybody. Culinary arts and baking and pastry arts students. This is Chef Fritz. We're at the conclusion of week one. I'm excited to finally get a day of instruction in front of you. My goal is to start to set the table for expectations, learning expectations in the class, and to get some systems in front of you. And then we're going to wrap up the day with you working on the course orientation quiz. So I'm going to talk a little bit about course materials, how to check out or use a pass in order to go to the restroom. And I don't have the option of pausing this. So you guys need to put the game away, okay, for now. Okay, thank you. And just be along for the ride with me when I'm lecturing, okay? I'm going to be playing the lecture live. I'll be walking around the room. But it's important for you to know that when I'm in instruction, you're focused on me and listening over anything else. So no Chromebooks, no personal devices out, obviously, is the school policy, and really doing nothing else except being with me. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump on in. The goal here, the course overview, our learning target right now is that I and we will learn course engagement and learning expectations. That's what we're doing. We started to do that this week. We'll continue to do that next week. The orientation quiz is your first assignment that's due in the class. Again, it's worth 50 points. And the goal is for you to pay attention as you work through it, listen to the videos, read the directions. One thing that I've learned as a teacher, if I set expectations clearly, you're going to be more successful in learning in the class. So everything that you open for me, even the orientation quiz, for example, you want to open it up, read the directions is where you want to start. Sometimes students will jump with asking a question before they even read the directions. So just start off with reading the questions that are on the screen for the orientation quiz, and then click on the link, okay, to view the video and work your way through the document. Let's talk about restrooms, the use of restrooms. We're going to go ahead and pass out for everybody a copy of the restroom pass, okay? You're going to have 6 passes that you can use, 6 passes for the remainder of the semester starting on Tuesday of next week, okay? And so the goal is for you to come to me or the substitute teacher if I'm not here. Bring this document with you and say, I would like to use the restroom, or I'd like to go get water, or I'd like to go to the office to pick something up. If you have a pass that comes and requests you, you don't have to use this pass. You can use that pass and you don't need to burn off one of these 6. Once you're done with using 6 passes, you don't leave the classroom anymore for the remainder of the semester. So my encouragement is this, to conserve the use of your passes, okay, and to keep them until the end of the semester. However many passes you have remaining at the end of the semester, as it reads, right, directions, as it reads on the bottom, will be entered into a drawing, and you will have the chance of winning a prize at the end of the semester, okay, for your class period, okay? So the more passes you have, the increased probability is that you'll win the prize, okay? And so the opportunity is for you to go ahead and leverage this as our system in the classroom, okay? And the opportunity is for you to follow the protocol of asking me or the substitute teacher if you can use the restroom. And then after that, you can go ahead and after we initial it and sign the date on it, you can use this as your pass when you go to the restroom, okay? All right, any questions on using the pass? Yes, Hunter.
What is the prize?
The prize, we will know what the prize is at the end of the semester. It's a surprise. All right, the prize is a surprise. So good question. Okay. If you have to go somewhere else beyond this portion of the building, most likely I'll send you with a regular pass. Okay. But again, you ask permission first. We tell you it's a reasonable time to go. If it's not the right time, if we're at the beginning of cleanup and you say, I want to go to the bathroom, I'm going to say no. Okay, because you need to be part of the cleanup process with your team. You don't skip out when we start cleaning up your stations at the end of the lab, okay? So there are times that it's inappropriate. When I'm in the middle of lecture, we don't ask to go to the restroom, okay? And when you first come to class, you don't ask to go to the restroom. And at the end of class, so you can leave early, you don't ask to go to the restroom. So please know that there are reasonable times to ask to go to the restroom and times that I'm going to deny you that opportunity, and you need to stay engaged in class and learning. The tip reporting system, I wanted to draw your attention to this. There's a poster at the front of the classroom over here on the left side as you walk out. And it's super important. One of the things that's been a frustration here at school is vandalism in the bathrooms. For example, the A-Wing men's bathroom doesn't have a stall on it, right? So I just want to encourage you guys, this is your school, okay? If you see things that are happening in school that are not appropriate, that are unprofessional, that are disrespectful to the environment, that are damaging the school, okay? If you see bullying, intimidation, harassment, weapons, you hear threats, drug use, whatever it might be, I want to encourage you to use this system. It's anonymous, and it's a safe place for you to report something that you've heard or seen or that are concerned about, okay? So I want to urge you to leverage the system. You should hear about it from other teachers as well, but there's always a poster right by my door. If you ever need to report something, you can do that anonymously, okay? Keeping the school safe and clean and well respected is everybody's responsibility. Okay, now what I want to do now is talk a little bit about myself. Okay, so the goal is for you to get some background on me and to understand why I'm here in front of you. It's not to be braggadocious. It's not to stand here and talk about myself, but the goal is for you to learn about me and why I'm here. So here's some pictures of me in the past. This is my crew, probably outside of school. You know, here in this world, this is the most important thing to me and my family. So you can see on the left side of the screen, or the right side of the screen, is my crew, my family. So my wife Gretchen, we got married in St. John's in 2019, just 6 months before COVID. I got 3 kids. Angel, my oldest, Megan, my middle, and Matthew, my youngest. He goes to Battleground. They all live with us. And Angel and Megan, Angel's 21, going on 22 at the end of the year in December. Megan is 19. They both work at Starbucks. So I've got a lot of hospitality people in the family. My wife works in the hospitality industry as well, has often done sales in the lodging industry, but now she works for the Washington Hospitality Association as their regional representative. And so we're sort of a hospitality heavy family. And so my girls work at Starbucks. So one of the things you often might not know about Starbucks is that, oh, you got Dutch Bros over there, but Starbucks pays for tuition. My 2 girls, one of them's pre-med in biology and going on to med school, just about ready to graduate, and the other one is elementary ed. They're both getting their bachelor's degrees paid for by Starbucks. Arizona State University, online, 100% paid for. Okay, they have some small fees that they have to pay on occasion, but I'll see these bills come through. I'll get emails like, hey, you have an outstanding balance of like $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 and for that semester, and Starbucks pays it. Okay, so if you, like me, as you'll learn in a minute, I was in a lot of trouble in high school, all right? And so I didn't have a pathway to college. I needed money for college. Some of you might not have support from your families to pay for college. And so that's a pathway that you might want to consider. Working at Starbucks, though it sometimes is a tough, stressful environment, getting that tuition is a real advantage. So that's my crew. I do personal chefing. So there we are, my daughter, my oldest, and my wife helping me at a private personal chefing job where I was doing a truffle, poached, sous vide lobster tail, and some different stuff. So I try to stay relevant. Here we are at Marrakesh Restaurant in Portland. Try to eat out, try to cook a lot on the personal level, and then I still do events, on the side at a professional level. My background. So I grew up in Bellevue, so just up I-5, a few hours. I started, how many of you are 14 years of age? Okay, so if you're 14, when I was your age, I went into my high school career center and I applied for a job at Burger King. There was a Burger King opening up close to my house, and I heard about it and I thought, that industry sounds sort of cool. So I applied for a job at 14. Back then, you could work, and there were labor law restrictions, but I was closing on weeknights and doing all sorts of crazy stuff that you guys can't get away with now. But started off at Burger King. But then when I was about 17, I was by the salad bar during lunch service, and this guy Matt, this other boy, and we didn't like each other. So what happened? What? Matt and I got into a little skirmish. Oh, you remember that story, huh?
Yeah, I actually do. This
yeah.
is the same lecture lesson in my person.
Yeah. We got into a fight by the salad bar, okay? Back when salad bars existed, right? And so COVID sort of has taken the salad bars out of the restaurant industry. But we got into a fight by the salad bar. So when I was 17, even though I had moved up, I was like a lead. I was a training coordinator at Burger King at 17. I was having success at fast food at 17, getting paid a big whopping like $4.25 an hour, okay? What's minimum wage now? Anybody know? Yeah, it's like 16, what is it? 1650. Crazy, right? So you're getting more. I mean, obviously inflation is factored into that, but you're getting paid roughly 4 times the amount that we got paid. Some of us in the room got paid when we were young, but got into a fight, lost my job. Okay, but then I opened up another door. So I worked at. My brother was a counselor at a YMCA camp in the San Juan Islands, and he said, "Hey, they need a cook." So I applied for the job. I don't even know. You didn't have the internet, right? I don't even know how I got connected, but I drove up. I think I interviewed. The chef hired me on the spot and went back, got my bags, and went up there and worked for the summer and started cooking like large quantity garrison cooking, cooking for like 800, 1,200 people for lunch, dinner, and breakfast. It was a phenomenal experience, and I worked for the first chef that I worked for. So the chef worked in the Marriott organization and had retired from Marriott. And so he had a perspective of culinary school and working in the industry that I didn't have. And so I, under his tutelage, learned about the Culinary Institute of America. And so I decided that's where I wanted to go to school. But there was this one thing. I wanted to go to a premier international culinary school, internationally known culinary school, but I had no money, right? And some of you might be in that situation. And so I decided I'm going to go ahead and join the Army. And my parents basically said, you either work at Burger King when I was still working at Burger King, or you got the Army. We're not going to support you in college, because I had that like 1.68 GPA, something like that. It was pretty bad, pretty dark days. I was not a good student. And so went into the Army, was stationed in Germany for a couple of years, cooked in the Army. I was at 94 Bravo cook, food service specialist. And then we went to Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and I was in a war environment for about 6 months, cooked in that environment, grew a lot, changed a lot, matured a lot. But the thing is, for me, it gave me some real perspective on life and some discipline that I needed. And I knew as soon as I got out, I was going on to culinary school. Some of you might have that aspiration that you want to go on to culinary school later on in your college life. So I went to CIA. I always say that I work at the CIA, but it's the Culinary Institute of America, not the CIA intelligence agency. And I went through that associate's degree program, did my degree in culinary arts, okay? And then I went ahead and moved on and went to WSU, okay? So I'm a Coug, okay? Any of you guys have parents that are Cougs? Family members that are Cougs? Some of you? Okay. So I went to WSU, did a bachelor's degree in hospitality business management, and then really everything changed for me. The director there said, hey, do you want to stay and teach? I ended up staying at WSU, doing my master's degree in education, and I taught at WSU for 9 years, 8.5, 9 years. And loved being in Pullman, but it was time to go, so I moved administrative. I worked at Johnson & Wales University in Denver as a director of culinary operations. I opened Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts in Seattle. Before I did that, I was working on my PhD at Colorado State University and taught in the restaurant resort management program there. And then I went to Bend, opened Cascade Culinary Institute there as a director and executive chef there. And then I went to Portland and was the director of the culinary arts program at the Art Institute. A lot of these programs had closed after I was there, not because I had been there, but there was a collapse in post-secondary culinary arts education, especially at the proprietary for-profit level. A lot changed in that landscape. And I noticed I was going through a divorce. I had 3 kids living with me. We were in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And I went ahead and needed to make a change. And so high school was where I embraced my next level of my career. And just going back to the classroom, keeping it simple, I took a job at Reynolds High School in Troutdale. And then a year later, had the opportunity to come here right before COVID. I got married and started at Battleground in the same month, and merged 2 families together, 5 kids, and it's been a ride. So I've been here at Battleground. This is my 6th year at Battleground High School. And so that's my background and why I'm here. The biggest thing for me, and I'm starting to wrap up here, why I teach, I love engaging kids. I love when you guys have an interest in working in the industry. I love feeding that interest, giving you life skills, because just so you know, different than a lot of occupations. Like I took wood shop in high school or in middle school. I never have done much with wood ever since. But cooking, you got to do it every day, okay? Especially when you're on your own, right? So when you're growing up, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in college now. Still got to know how to eat and feed myself. And so I'm working on the strategy of giving you life skills that also can support you having professional industry skills. This is an example of students in the advanced class. So in that class, we do a lot of events. We apply the things that you learn in the intro to baking class and the intro to culinary class. We apply that in the advanced class, the culinary and entrepreneurship class. So here we are. We do fundraising for field trips, and we took a bus over to Tillamook. Actually, I drove a van. It was pre-COVID, and some of these kids hadn't even ever seen the ocean before and lived in Battleground all their lives, two of them. And so we do events. We go out and learn. We interact with industry professionals, and really the goal is to get you connected with even future job opportunities if you're interested. So there's a total of 2 credits in the culinary arts program, especially if you take the food science course that helps you in that career pathway. You get the benefit of eating in class. You get the benefit of developing life skills that are going to help you in the industry and at home and build some confidence. Cooking confidence is what I call it. And also really work on your communication skills, leadership, conflict resolution, all those types of areas. Today, what we're going to do now is I'm going to give you time, not yet, but in a moment, you're going to get your Chromebooks out. I want you to go ahead and you're going to pull your Chromebooks out, go ahead and work on the course orientation quiz if you haven't already completed that. And where you're going to go in Google Classroom, this is the Intro to Culinary Arts, and it's the same thing in the Intro to Baking and Pastry Arts class. On week 1 and 2, it says course overview. You're going to open up course orientation, and you're going to click on it. And this is the quiz that I want you to complete, okay, today. So what I'd like you to do now is to go ahead and log into your Chromebooks. If you have problems accessing a Chromebook, come up and see me. You should be bringing your Chromebooks charged and ready to go to school. But if you don't have one, come and see me. And with that, I'm going to leave you to working on your orientation quiz. And I hope you have a great weekend.